Hey everyone, today we're going on a journey through time to explore the top 15 most astonishing ancient cities. Let's start with number 15, Xicheng. The Lion City. It was built during the Eastern Han Dynasty, and it was first established as a county in 208 AD. It once served as the center of politics and economics in the eastern province of Zhejiang. The city thrived for centuries. It boasted beautiful temples, memorial arches, paved roads, and even houses. However, in 1959, the Chinese government decided that a new hydroelectric power station was required. The construction of a man-made lake, which involved erecting a dam now known as the Jinan River Hydroelectric Station, led to the submergence of Xicheng under 130 feet of water. This metropolis was slowly filled with water until it was completely submerged. Now, Qiandao Lake covers an area of 220 square miles. More than 1,000 large islands dot the lake, with a few thousand smaller. Number 14, Samarkand. Samarkand, located in modern-day Uzbekistan, is famous for sitting along the Silk Road, which connected the Mediterranean world with the Eastern world. Archaeological evidence suggests that the area of Samarkand had been occupied by humans as early as the 14th century BC. During the 6th century BC, the city became part of the Achaemenid Empire when it was conquered by Cyrus the Great. Under the reign of Darius the Great, Samarkand was designated as the capital of the satrapy of Sogdiana. In the 4th century BC, it was conquered by Alexander the Great during his campaign against the Achaemenid Empire, and the city became Alexander's base in the region. When Alexander's time passed, the rule changed hands and went to the Seleucid Empire. But as time moved even further along, the fall of the Greco-Bactrian kingdom to the Kushans saw Samarkand change hands once again, as everyone wanted a stronghold along the Silk Road. It declined during the Kushan period, but it experienced a revival. Number 13, Teotihuacan. Teotihuacan emerged from Mesoamerica's pre-classical period as a perfectly planned city, complete with fully developed architecture, advanced astronomy, mathematics, and a sophisticated calendar. The ruins that survive today reveal that the earliest layers of the city's construction exhibit the greatest complexity and sophistication. While some of the facades were originally stuccoed and painted, most of these have faded or disappeared, giving the impression of monumentality even as the structures show their age. At its peak around 200 AD, Teotihuacan was a bustling metropolis with a population well over 120,000. It had hundreds of temples and palaces and 3 massive pyramids named after the sun, the moon, and the feathered serpent. It was known as the Rome of America. Teotihuacan's ruins lie just 31 miles northeast of modern-day Mexico City. By the time the Aztecs arrived in the 14th century, the ancient city was already of the gods and incorporated it into their own mythology. Number 12, Tikal, Guatemala. Tikal, located in the northern part of the Petén region of Guatemala, was one of the largest urban centers of the Maya civilization during the Classic period. Originating as a small village around 800 BC during the Middle Preclassic period, Tikal grew into a significant ceremonial center by the late Preclassic period during about 600 to 800. About 600 to 800, Tikal reached its zenith, extending its homogeny over much of the southern Maya lowlands. During this flourishing period, Tikal saw an explosion of architectural and artistic achievements. Monumental structures, including pyramids, palaces, and plazas, were constructed. The city's sophistication is evident in its monumental sculptures, vase paintings, and the appearance of Maya hieroglyphic writing and complex systems of time counting. Architectural marvels include the iconic Temple of the Great Jaguar and the Temple of the Mask. These towering pyramids were traction in the 1990s with the first paleoclimate records of Central America. Today, visiting Tikal is like stepping back in time. Aside from the remaining ancient architecture, howler monkeys, toucans, and other exotic animals that all call this sprawling metropolis home. Number 11, Athens. Athens, Greece. It's often hailed as the cradle of democracy. It's one of the greatest ancient cities in the world. Its rich history, which stretches back over 5,000 years, has left an indelible mark on civilization. From its origins in the Neolithic era to its status as a powerful Mycenaean center, Athens evolved into a beacon of culture, philosophy, and governance. The ripples of its ancient achievements continue to influence modern society profoundly. In its early days, Athens was a Mycenaean stronghold, complete with a formidable fortress. Following the collapse of the Mycenaean civilization around 1200 BC, Athens managed to prosper during the Iron Age. Its strategic location and central citizens to participate directly in political decision-making. This democratic system laid the foundation for modern democratic governance and inspired political thought for centuries. Philosophers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle pondered questions of ethics, politics, and human nature, shaping Western philosophy. Also, the architectural and artistic achievements of Athens were equally monumental. The Parthenon, a temple dedicated to Athena, the city's patron goddess, stands as an example to Athenian ingenuity and a devotion to the arts. Number 10. Ancient Carthage. Carthage, an illustrious city of antiquity on the north coast of Africa, is now a residential suburb of Tunis, Tunisia. But it all began as a strategic placement on a promontory along the Tunisian coast enabled it to control ships navigating between Sicily and the North African coast through the Mediterranean Sea. Rapidly becoming a bustling port and trading center, Carthage evolved into a significant triangular peninsula covered with low hills and bordered by the Lake of Tunis, providing a safe anchorage and abundant fish supply. This strategic location offered access to the Med while being shielded from the violent storms that plagued other Mediterranean ports. Additionally, its proximity to the Strait of Sicily placed Carthage at a crucial bottleneck in the east-west Mediterranean trade. The ancient citadel Byrsa was situated on a low hill overlooking the sea. Although little remains of Carthage's domestic and public buildings, some of the earliest tombs have been discovered there. The citadel dominated the city below, and it was the keystone of its military defense. From 149 to 146 BC, the Romans besieged the hill and defeated Carthage. Following this defeat, the Roman Empire occupied the citadel as the seat of proconsul of Africa. In 1884, St. Louis Cathedral was built atop the ruins of the ancient temple dedicated to Eshmun, the Punic god of healing, on the peak of Byrsa Hill. This Roman Catholic church, built in a Byzantine Moorish style, ceased to be used for worship. A bustling metropolis, known for its architecture, cultural significance, and pivotal role in the history of Mesopotamia. By the early 2nd millennium BC, Nineveh had grown into a town of considerable importance, primarily as a religious center dedicated to the goddess Ishtar. This religious significance laid the foundation for Nineveh's growth and development. It was during this period the city served as a vassal to the Hurrian kingdom of Mitanni before being captured by the Assyrians. It was under Assyrian rule, particularly during the Neo-Assyrian Empire, that Nineveh reached its zenith. The city's cultural and architectural expansion began in earnest during the reign of Ashurnasirpal II in 9th century BC. Ashurnasirpal II and his successors embarked on an extensive building project, constructing new temples and palaces and refurbishing older structures. However, it was during the reign of Sennacherib, Ashurnasirpal's descendant, that Nineveh truly flourished. Sennacherib made Nineveh the new capital of the Assyrian Empire, initiating Meroe, Sudan. Meroe was a prominent city in the kingdom of Kush, with the evidence of a settlement dating back to the early 9th century BC. By around 300 BC, Meroe had become the capital kingdom of Kush and retained its status until the mid-4th century AD. The close interactions between the kingdom of Kush and pharaonic Egypt led to the exchange of cultural practices, including pyramid building. Although the Kushites briefly controlled Egypt for about a century, they developed distinct architectural styles for their pyramids. The pyramids of Meroe differ significantly from their Egyptian counterparts. Constructed using large blocks of sandstone, they have a steeper angle and a smaller size. Despite their smaller dimensions, though, the pyramids of Meroe are numerous, with over 200 discovered by archaeologists. These pyramids are categorized into 3 main areas: the South Cemetery, the North Cemetery, and the West Cemetery. Additional excavations at a site located about 400 miles from Meroe reveal a dense field of miniature pyramids, suggesting that the practice was found to contain any valuable artifacts. Today, the archaeological significance of these pyramids of Meroe has secured them a place on UNESCO's World Heritage List under the Archaeological Sites of the Island of Meroe. Despite this recognition, though, the site does receive far fewer visitors compared to Giza. Moving on to number 7, Beijing's Forbidden City. The Forbidden City of China stands as one of the most influential and ancient cities the world has ever seen. This sprawling imperial palace located in the heart of Beijing was the residence of China's powerful emperors and a center of political power for nearly 5 centuries. Spanning an impressive 7,200 acres, this UNESCO World Heritage Site contains the largest collection of preserved ancient wooden structures in the world. With over 800 buildings and nearly 9,000 chambers, it remains an example of the sophistication of Chinese architecture and its history. Construction of the Forbidden City began in 1406. The Forbidden City is divided into two main parts, the outer court and the inner court. The outer was where the emperor held court and conducted business, while the inner court was the private residence of the emperor and his family. The palace was home to countless works of art and artifacts, including paintings, sculptures, and calligraphy, reflecting the cultural and artistic achievements of the Chinese imperial era. The Forbidden City was first opened to the public in 1925 following the fall of the Qing dynasty in 1911 and the expulsion of the last emperor Puyi in 1924. The new government of China decided to transform the palace into a museum, allowing ordinary citizens and visitors from around the world to glimpse the grandeur of the Chinese imperial system and the lives of the imperial family. Since then, the Forbidden City has become a major tourist attraction, drawing millions of people each year. Number 6. Susa, Iran. Susa, also known as Shushan, is an ancient city located in the lower. It's believed that the name may have come from Shushana, a type of water lily that grew in the nearby lakes and swamps. Susa was a center for the worship of Inanna, the Sumerian goddess of love, fertility, and warfare. It served as the winter residence of Persian kings after being captured by Cyrus the Great. Excavations here have revealed evidence of occupation dating back to 4200 BC. Artifacts discovered at the site include carved cylinder seals, jewelry, clay balls, and clay tablets with cuneiform inscriptions that record business transactions, political history, and mathematical calculations. Susa is notably mentioned in the Bible, primarily in the story of Esther. In this story, Haman the Agagite planned to annihilate the Jews of Persia, but Esther, by persuading her husband, King Ahasuerus of Persia, outwitted him, thus sabotaging Haman's plan. This episode is commemorated annually in the Jewish Purim festival, marked with costumes, parties, and celebrations. The city is also mentioned in the books of Nehemiah and Daniel, who lived there during the Babylonian known. It was a major focal point in the northern Maya lowlands from the late Classical through the Terminal Classic and into the early portion of the Post-Classical period. It was one of the largest Maya cities and likely one of the mythical Great Cities, or Talans, mentioned in later Mesoamerican literature. Chichen Itza thrived as a regional capital, controlling central Yucatan to the north coast and extending its power along the east and west coast of the peninsula. The earliest hieroglyphic date discovered at Chichen Itza is equivalent to 832 AD, while the last known date is recorded in the Asario Temple in 998 AD. When the Spanish arrived, they found a thriving local population, and the Cenote Sagrado, a large natural sinkhole, remained as a place of pilgrimage. Post-conquest sources, both Spanish and Maya, indicate that the area continued to hold cultural and spiritual significance. Today, Chichen Itza is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's one of the most visited archaeological sites in Mexico. The site's preservation and ongoing archaeological research continue to shed light on the rich, complex history of the Maya civilization. Number 4. Babylon, Iraq. The ancient city of Babylon, located in modern-day Iraq, stands as one of the most magnificent and revered cities in history. Its origins date back to the 3rd millennium. As the 6th ruler of the first dynasty of Babylon, Hammurabi expanded the city-state into a major regional power by conquering surrounding city-states such as Elam, Larsa, Eshuna, and Mari. His conquests were part of a sacred mission to spread civilization, which he documented in his writings. Under Hammurabi's leadership, Babylon became a dominant force in Mesopotamia, uniting the region under its rule. The city's true renaissance came under Nebuchadnezzar II, who transformed Babylon into the largest city in the world at the time, covering about 4 square miles. Nebuchadnezzar's extensive rebuilding projects included the construction of the Esagila, the Great Temple of Marduk, and the Nebuchadnezzar's reign, showcasing the city's engineering prowess. The fall of Babylon marked the end of the Neo-Babylonian Empire. The city was captured by the Persian king Cyrus the Great in 539 BC, an event recorded by various ancient historians, though with some inconsistencies. Despite its decline, though, Babylon's legacy endured, influencing subsequent civilizations and remaining a symbol of ancient cultural and architectural achievements. Number 3. Persepolis, Iran. Persepolis, an ancient capital of the Achaemenid dynasty of Persia, stands as an example of the architectural brilliance of one of history's most illustrious empires. Located in a remote and mountainous region, Persepolis was founded by Darius I, who chose the site to replace Pasargadae, the burial place of Cyrus the Great. Despite the remote location and primarily being a springtime royal residence, Persepolis emerged as a symbol of the empire's wealth and power. The city's strategic placement, coupled with its elaborate remnants, continued to hold significant historical and cultural value. By 316 BC, Persepolis was the capital under the Macedonian Empire, though it gradually declined under the Seleucid kingdom. One of the most remarkable archaeological finds at Persepolis includes 2 sets of gold and silver plates discovered in 1933, recording the boundaries of the Persian Empire in 3 forms of cuneiform: Ancient Persian, Elamite, and Babylonian. These inscriptions, along with others attributed to Darius I, Xerxes I, and Artaxerxes III, provide invaluable insights into the city's history and the rulers who shaped its destiny. Darius's famous prayer inscribed on the south retaining wall encapsulates his vision: God protect this country from foe, famine, and falsehood. Number 2. Thebes, Egypt. The ancient city of Thebes, one of the major Greek city-states and a formidable rival of Athens, has a rich and storied history that stretches back to the 3rd millennium foreign states, and by the following century it dominated the league. In the Greco-Persian Wars, Thebes sided with the Persians, partly due to its conflict with Athens. This rivalry continued into the Peloponnesian War, where Thebes allied with Sparta against Athens. Though Thebes experienced a setback with the disbandment of the Boeotian League in 386 BC and the occupation of Cadmea in 382 BC, the city quickly regained its prominence. The turning point for Thebes came after 379 BC, when the city revolted and reorganized the Boeotian League along democratic lines. The Thebans, under brilliant general Epaminondas, achieved significant victories over the Spartans at Tegira in 375 BC and at Leuctra in 371 BC. With his leadership led to the Theban dominance of the Peloponnesus, culminating in the decisive Battle of Mantinea in 362 BC. Although Thebes emerged victorious, the death of the general during this battle dealt a severe blow to the city's military strength, with both Thebes becoming a poor village. Today, this ancient city's classical past is largely in ruins, with only the remnants of Cadmea still standing. The city's museum, established in 1905 and expanded in 2007, houses the archaeological finds from the area, offering a glimpse into the city's illustrious past. Number 1. Alexandria, Egypt. The lost city of Heraklion, once the largest port in Egypt, was miraculously discovered underwater after more than 2,000 years in the year 2000. Its origins trace back to as early as the 12th century BC, linking it deeply to ancient Greece. Heraklion, also known by its Egyptian name Thonis or Thonis Heraklion, thrived in the waning days of the pharaohs. However, over time the city was devastated by a series of natural disasters, including earthquakes, tsunamis, and rising sea levels. Archaeologists believe that a severe flood in the late 2nd century BC led to the buildings of Heraklion collapsing into the water. Among the remarkable underwater finds, archaeologists discovered a colossal 18-foot statue of Hapi, the god of the Nile's inundation. This statue, dating back to the 4th century BC, was one of 3 enormous red granite sculptures unearthed. In 2001, the team also found an ancient stele commissioned by Nectanebo I between 378 and 362 BC, with detailed and clearly readable inscriptions. Built on the Nile Delta, Heraklion was crisscrossed by an extensive network of canals and was renowned for its beauty, earning the nickname Venice of the Nile. At one point, it was the largest port in the Mediterranean. However, the city gradually declined in importance and slipped into the sea during the second half of the 8th century AD. The rediscovery of Heraklion has ignited curiosity and speculation about the existence of other mythical cities. If a city once believed to be a myth can be uncovered from the depths of the sea, who knows what other legendary sunken cities might still be waiting to